Room 13 was never empty. Prologue: a door that shouldn't exist. It all started with a whisper. Not a loud one, not a scream, but a soft, persistent whisper that no one could trace. At Crestfall University, nestled in the fog-laden hills of New England, Room 13 of the Eastmore Dormitory was never listed on any official housing records. Students spoke of it in hushed tones, claiming the room was always locked, or worse, always open. Sophia Lane, a second-year psychology student with a growing interest in the paranormal, didn't believe in ghost stories. That changed the day she discovered a door that shouldn't exist. It was in the Eastmore Hall basement, behind an old boiler that hadn't worked in decades. The door was made of thick, splintering wood and had a rusted plaque above it, Room 13. Her flashlight flickered. She reached for the handle, and the whispers began. Chapter 1: The Whispering Hall. Sophia wasn't supposed to be in the Eastmore basement. It had been sealed off after a fire 20 years earlier, but her curiosity had gotten the better of her. Rumors swirled about experiments and lost students. She dismissed most of it as typical college folklore until the dreams began. She dreamed of corridors that twisted endlessly, doors that led to nowhere, and a child's voice crying out, "Let me out." Drawn back by a compulsion she couldn't understand, Sophia returned to the basement. The door was still there. This time, it was ajar. Inside was nothing but darkness, impossibly deep. Her flashlight beam vanished into it, but there was something else, scratched into the doorframe. "I never left." Chapter 2: The Room That Remembers. Sophia stepped inside. The air was thick with mildew and a strange static hum. The room was larger than it should have been, stretching far beyond the dimensions of the building. Torn wallpaper clung to the walls. A child's drawing lay crumpled on the floor, figures with no faces, all standing in a circle. In the far corner, a single wooden chair faced the wall. And on the wall, names, hundreds of them. She ran her fingers over one. Evan Bloom, 1994. Her stomach twisted. That name had come up in her research last month. A student who had disappeared without a trace. Police claimed he left campus voluntarily. But why was his name here? As she turned to leave, the door slammed shut. And someone whispered behind her, "You're next." Chapter 3: Psychology of the Forgotten. Back in her dorm, Sophia pored over university records. Evan wasn't the only student to vanish. A pattern emerged. Every 13 years, a student from Eastmore Hall disappeared, never found. It was now 2020. Sophia's heart pounded as she realized the pattern. Another disappearance was due. But who? Her roommate, Carla, laughed off the research. "You're just psyching yourself out. Ghosts aren't real." But that night, Carla woke up screaming. Her eyes were wide, pupils dilated. She pointed at the wall. "Did you hear the voices? They were in the mirror. They know my name." Chapter 4: The Mirror Ritual. Sophia traced the legends of Room 13 back to the 1960s. An experimental psychology professor, Dr. Lysander Keene, conducted fear threshold experiments on students in Room 13. His goal was to strip identity through sensory deprivation and psychological trauma. He vanished before he could be arrested. Rumors said he'd never left the room. Sophia tried the mirror ritual described in Keene's notes. A circle of salt, a candle, and the subject must speak their full name into the mirror. Carla agreed to help. What's the worst that could happen? But when Carla whispered her name, the candle blew out. The mirror cracked, and something laughed. Chapter 5: The Missing Hours. The next morning, Carla was gone. Her bed was made, her things untouched. Campus police launched a search. Sophia was questioned. She lied, but guilt clawed at her. She returned to Room 13, now drawn to it as though it pulsed with her own heartbeat. Inside, she found Carla's scarf on the chair. Then the door closed again, and the room changed. The walls bled. Screams echoed from unseen places. Sophia clawed at the door, but it wouldn't budge. "Welcome back," a voice whispered. "The room remembers you." Chapter 6: Conversations with the Lost. Sophia lost track of time. Days? Hours? There was no way to tell. But she wasn't alone. In the room were others, faint silhouettes that barely clung to their forms. A boy with a cracked jaw. A girl whose fingers endlessly scratched symbols into the walls. And one whose face shifted constantly. They spoke in fragments. She said her name too loud. Don't look at the ceiling. You have to forget, or it finds you. Sophia asked, What finds you? And they answered in unison, Room 13, Chapter 7, The Sound That Eats Memory. Sophia realized something. The room fed on memory. Every moment spent inside drained her thoughts, her family, her name, her reason for coming. She began recording messages to herself with a small voice recorder, a tether to reality. But the recorder began playing things she hadn't said, whispers, screams, and once, a voice that sounded like her own, but darker. If you listen too long, you forget who you are. She had to escape, or forget forever. Chapter 8, The 13th Key. Sophia scoured the walls. Amidst the carvings and stains, she found a sequence, a puzzle of symbols. It spoke of a key hidden in reflection. She smashed the cracked mirror. Behind it, an old brass key labeled "Through." She turned to the door. It had no lock, no keyhole. Then she looked at the chair. It had a small drawer. Inside was a lockbox. She opened it. Inside, a photo of Dr. Keene, holding hands with a little girl. On the back, My Daughter Sophia, 2001. The room shook. Chapter 9, Bloodline. Sophia stared at the photograph, her world unraveling. The timelines didn't make sense. She had no memory of this man. But the more she stared, the more she remembered. A childhood in silence, a hospital room, a whispering voice teaching her to forget. She wasn't drawn to room 13. She was called. The experiments didn't end. They continued through her, a legacy of erasing self, of feeding the room. And she was the next vessel, unless she ended it. Chapter 10, Collapse. Sophia placed the photo in the center of the room. She lit a match. The fire spread unnaturally fast, devouring the darkness. The walls screamed, the shadows convulsed. And the faces, they began to smile. Thank you, they whispered. The door burst open. Light flooded in. Sophia staggered out, smoke curling behind her. Room 13 groaned as the ceiling collapsed inward. And then it was gone. Epilogue, the empty frame. Weeks passed. Carla was never found. The university denied room 13 ever existed. Sophia dropped out, unable to sleep without hearing the whispers. One day, she visited the Eastmore ruins. In the rubble, she found a rusted plaque. It simply read, Room 14. And as she turned it over, scratched into the metal, Room 13 was never empty, it just moved. To be continued.